Hi, Assalamualaikum. So today our group will present about risk management in international trade and its importance. So first, let me introduce our group member first. So for the first presenter will be me, Aleeya, and next presenter, Ain, Nurul Ghani, Asni, and Kirthi. Okay, what is risk management in international trade? So, as we know that it is a systematic process for the identification and evaluation of risk exposure faced by an organization or individual, and for the selection and administration of the most appropriate technique for treating such exposure. That's mean like it is about taking steps to ensure that a company knows what and how much risk it faces and how much of that risk it is able to mitigate. So this is the risk management process. First is identify potential losses, evaluate and analyze potential losses, selecting appropriate technique, which is its method to handling risk, implementing, selecting, and the last one is controlling the risk management process.
The first process is identifying potential losses. So risk identification is the process by which an organization is able to learn of the areas in which it is exposed to risk. So identification techniques are designed to develop information on sources of risk, hazards, risk factors, perils, and exposures to loss. So it is everybody's task to identify the loss exposures in one organization. Losses can be classified as direct damage, which is like damage to building, indirect damage like losses of profits due to business interruption. Next is liability. So it's a court award to 3D parties since fire was caused by negligence of the owner of building. Next is loss of key employees, which is key employees such as general manager or CEO or researcher. So how to identify risks? So we can identify all the risks through questionnaires, through interviews, financial statements, flow charts, and personal inceptions or observation. Moving on to evaluation potential losses. So risk management evaluates the likelihood of loss and the value of loss in terms of frequency and severity. The measurement process may take the form of a qualitative assessment, which using the percentage. So these steps involves two important aspects of low exposures, which are frequency and severity. So identifying and determining the loss of exposures alone is not sufficient. In evaluating, the potential losses are estimating the frequency and severity for each type of loss exposure and ranked it according to their relative importance. High loss exposure will be given priority. Next is estimating relative frequency and severity of each loss exposure, as the selection of appropriate technique will depend on this. So how can you determine and estimate the impact of losses? First one is frequency, which is referring to the number of times the loss occurs. Next is the severity, which is referring to the maximum size of loss exposures.
This is step 3 in risk management process, which is selecting appropriate techniques. It means the person who in charge these management programs need to choose the risk handling techniques. For example, avoidance, loss control, risk retention, and risk transfer. For the next, selection of risk techniques is based on two, which is financial criteria or non-financial criteria. For the financial criteria, it will consider on how the choice will affect the organization, profitability, or rates of returns. For the next, non-financial criteria will consider include humanitarian aspect and legal requirements. Method of handling have 5, which is control, avoidance, retention, non-insurance transfer, and insurance. For control, we can minimize our exposure to risk as the limit opportunity for loss to occur. As example, control would be installing the system at a business place to dissuade intruder from commit the crime. For the next is avoidance. It's completely take the risk out of the equation to never get involved in the first place. For the third, retention. Individual or organization decision to take responsibility for particular risk it faced, as opposed to transfer risk over the insurance company. Second last, non-insurance transfer. Transfer of risk to someone other than insurance carrier. It happens within context between companies and individuals in the fine print of certain service. For the last is insurance. Can transfer your risk to an insurance carrier. It will see that you will be made whole after loss provided that correct coverage and accidentally hit someone with your car. The insurance will pay first.
After the selection of most appropriate technical or combination of technicals, the next step is to implement the risk management program and come up with some instruction in conducting the risk handling technical that had been chosen. Once you implement a risk management program, need to be monitored to ensure that it is achieving the result expected and to make changes to the programs if necessary. Example, controlling by timetable, checklist, auditing, spot check, and by observation.
Next, I will present about the importance of international trade insurance. The first one is to spread and mitigate risk of international trade. International trade insurance can spread about circumstances and uncertainty risk and situation, so it will help the business to manage and mitigate the various of risks associated with global trade, including non-payment, political instability, currency fluctuation, natural disaster, and transportation issues. Next, the importance of international trade insurance is stimulating of economic growth. International trade insurance will minimize risk and contribute to economic growth by fostering smoother trade relationship and encouraging more companies to participate in global commerce. The third importance of international trade insurance is generates a long-term financial resources. International trade insurance will generate a long-term financial resources because it will protect against potential financial losses and ensuring that business remain silent and financially secure, even in the face of unexpected event that could be negatively impact in their international transaction.
Number 4, support market expansion. When a business decided to expand into new market abroad, there are inherent risks involved due to unfamiliarity with the local environment, regulation, and the reliability of new trading partners. These risks might include 1. Payment risk, concern about receiving payment on time or at all due to the unfamiliar payment method or the financial instability of the buyer. Number 2 is political risk, which is changes in government policies, civil unrest, or geopolitical tension that could affect the agreement or disrupt business operation. And number 3 is commercial risk, which is issue with the quality of the goods, shipping delay, or failure to deliver product as per agreement. Number 5, provide job vacancy local and international. So, job opportunities in international trade insurance often require a mix of industry-specific knowledge, technical skill, and an understanding of global trade dynamics. Depending on the role and sector, this position can be found in various locations worldwide, offering both local and international job opportunities. So in abroad, there are many different insurance cases from our own country, and maybe the case will be unique. So users need to see and learn from other people's case so it doesn't happen to themselves.